Hello everyone, this is Metal Pilgrim and I'm happy to welcome you to the new episode of our interview series. Our today's guest is going to be the frontman of the US death metal band Hinayana, Casey Hurd, who will speak about the band's upcoming EP, Death of the Cosmic, working with Napalm Records and much, much more. As always, don't forget to subscribe both here and on Instagram for more exclusive interviews, reviews, and first-hand rock and metal news. Here you go. Hey Casey, how's it going?
How's it going, man?
All's good, all's good. Thanks for jumping on the phone with me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about the little hiccup there. I was fiddling with my things. Oh crap, I had it on some wrong settings. So yeah, my bad.
No worries. Nice gear you got there. Gear and heavy lifting.
Oh yeah. Trying to just keep in shape during this whole quarantine period.
Yeah, tell me about it, man. Are you actually in Austin right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, how's it there?
I mean, it's okay. I'm an essential worker. I do deliveries, so like I haven't gotten to work from home or anything, like some of the people I know. It's okay, It's hot as hell.
Yeah, it's hot here too, man. Yeah, believe it or not, I've lived in the United States for quite a long time. I'm there, unless it's quarantine like right now, but every couple of months. Never been to Austin. Once I think had a layover when I was flying to Costa Rica or something like that, but never been there. It's on my bucket list, definitely.
Yeah, it's a nice place. I'd say out of the cities in Texas, it's definitely one of the prettiest. There's a lot of trees here. We got a lot of trees and a lot of green.
That's
cool.
Good. That's my kind of city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what in addition to being an essential worker and obviously preparing for the release of the new EP, what keeps you sane, and do you guys keep in touch with the band?
Yeah. So we've been. There was a short lockdown period where we weren't able to practice, but now that some of the practice spaces have opened back up, we're actually able to. We practice once a week.
Oh, nice.
Band. Yeah, it's just to keep the rust off, and just to make sure we don't lose our chops, for when things really do open back up, because it's important to, stay on top of it. And so we're all just kind of doing our own things, I guess, like I was saying, like just trying to stay healthy is one thing, trying to stay in shape is one thing, but also writing new music is a big part of what's keeping us, keeping us going right now. That and all the work that's kind of going into the new release, behind the scenes, not just, releasing it, but all the little stuff,
Yeah,
so that's kind of keeping busy with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and obviously, as you mentioned, you're preparing for the first release. For those who don't know, this will be the first EP since Order Divine was released in 2018. And Death of the Cosmic is going to be out on August 28th through the Napalm Records. And obviously this is a big deal, because Napalm, is a huge label. And can you talk a bit about the process, behind working on this record versus the previous ones, and is there any difference of working with a label like Napalm to what you've been doing before?
Yeah, so the process with the EP was actually this. We actually wrote and recorded most of the EP before we were in touch with Napalm, but it kind of came in at the end. So on Order Divine, for instance, those were all songs that were relatively older that I had been sitting on and trying to get to record, and me and my drummer recorded those, and we did it on a tight budget, and we had a lot to learn, I think, from that that experience as far as what we were doing. We're very happy with how it came out, but I think the EP, we really wanted to just like take that sound and really expand on it and make it into something that it wasn't on the previous album, and kind of just I guess evolve or carve out that sound for the band. And part of the difference is, first of all, we spent more time in the studio recording. We spent more time and money on this EP.
Yeah.
We really wanted to make it shine, and really make it a little bit, step it up from the previous album. All of our equipment we had all upgraded. My drummer, he went out and he bought a whole new drum set for the recording of the EP and all that stuff. We wanted to really mix things up. He had been changing up who he was. He's kind of influenced by different people than he was on the previous album. So even some of little fills and stuff that he's doing, is a little bit different. It's a little stylistically different as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as working with Napalm goes, when they came in, we were really excited about it, and we're still excited about it. But we were like, holy crap, okay, they want to do this. And yeah, so it took a while for us to iron out that whole deal and everything with them. But we've been sitting on this for a while now. So the EP was pretty much completed, like, I guess a year ago, but we just had to wait. We had to wait until it was ready to be released. They've been a great team to work with so far. It's pretty cool, like having a lot of people who are throwing out ideas and pitching things and really are passionate. You can tell they're passionate about the project. It's not only our project anymore. Now it's these other. It's like we have a team now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a cool experience.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And expanding on what you have said, obviously I've been able to listen to the EP. Good job on this one, by the way. Great job. I would say that this album sound, I would say it's coherent with what the listeners might have heard on Order Divine, right? Yet it is somewhat richer and in a way more ample, I would personally say, right? It is clearly a melodic death metal album. At the same time, I would hear a lot of heavy doom influences, in my opinion at least. How would you characterize the sound yourself, though?
Yeah, so I would say, I think you are correct. I think it's a mix of melodic death with a lot of doom in there, and really just a focus on really kind of mid-paced, slower kind of brooding riffs and stuff that really kind of evolve into big choruses, big moments, big melodic moments. I would say is kind of what the EP is all about, with a big emphasis on melody and atmosphere. There's a lot more atmospheric stuff going on. For instance, on a lot more detailed work, in the background of all the songs and stuff like that, and with the orchestration with the keys. Then, for instance, on the last album, So yeah, I'd say you're totally right.
Yeah. Sounds good, Ben. I'm good. I guess I'm a musical critical now. I guess. Also, the EP will feature 2 guest appearances, as I know, right? One of them is of sadly late Nature Gun Guy by Gull on Gold Conception. Again, unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. And the other one is Tony Toivonen. I might be mispronouncing this. But how was it like working with them? I would imagine was a very different experience with the 2. But can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so it was a little bit different working with both of them. They're both very excited about it. But we'll start with Nature, since that sort of happened first. We have been talking for a while online, and he actually lived in Austin. His last part of his life, he lived here. He had usually, I guess, like, he had lived for a long time with his bandmates and stuff over in New York City, but he had moved down here at some point, and he had a lot of friends. We had a lot of mutual friends. And, he was really excited about working on our stuff. He was nothing but encouraging and really, very humble, and just like, it was really awesome to be able to work with someone who actually I had known about for so long. I'd always liked Tender Cavalry, and I thought it was a really cool, unique band. And so it was really kind of mind-blowing to be able to work with this guy.
I think unique is definitely the adjective to describe them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was interesting. We had this idea. I personally had an idea of how I wanted basically him to do the his horsehead fiddle parts, and I've told a couple people this, and I think it was really cool because I had an idea of how I wanted it to go, and kind of we talked about it, and I kind of pitched it to him, and we tried it out a little bit, and he had his own idea of how he wanted to do his parts, and it just showed like his level of musicianship. I was like, it turned out so much better than like even what I was thinking. It's like really cool collaborating with someone who's able to do that and just bring that song to that next level, be able to bring it to that next that next step, and Yeah, so that was the coolest part about working with him on that, was just, it was a shock kind of hearing it, and it was like, wow, this really elevated this song in ways that I didn't expect, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know, I mean, yeah, so working with him was very cool, and
Mm-hmm.
then working with Tony, that was really awesome, because that's a band that maybe I've even listened to them for even longer. Hanging Garden
Yeah.
has a huge influence on my songwriting personally, and so when we got the word that we could actually do something with him, that was like another mind blowing moment for me. But it was really good. He liked the songs,
Oh.
or he liked the one that we were working on, and yeah, he knocked the vocal performance out of the park on that one. Yeah, and it was really cool mixing that in the studio too.
Yeah, I personally think this is my favorite on the EP. Sorry if your opinion. And actually, the next question then is gonna be like choosing the favorite child, man. What's your favorite song? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yes, like you said, they all, at a certain point, they all feel like, they're your children. You know, you don't want to pick a favorite, but yeah, I
You
don't
got
know,
it.
man. I would have to. I might say, just because it was one of those songs that turned out a little different than we thought it would, I might actually say, "In Sacred Delusion" might
Mm-hmm.
be my favorite, because that took the longest to write,
Mm-hmm.
and it started with one part that just, it started with the chorus, and it just took a long time for all the rest of the parts to develop around it. And it wasn't until the very end, very close to when we were actually entering the studio, that it finally got completed. And it was just, I think it's most of the people in the band's actually favorite as well, just because of that. It's kind of got like a lot of the key sounds that we're going for, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all in one song.
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. And in terms of the writing process, I know that the band originally started as kind of your solo project and kind of evolved into this full scale band. So has that changed? Has that songwriting process changed since the very beginning until now? I mean, do you collaborate on writing songs, or do you contribute the most to the songwriting process at the moment?
Yeah, so right now, I guess you could say, from the first demo up until this point, it's all the songs have been written by me or composed by me.
Mhm.
But we're working, since this team still feels, I guess it's still we're still kind of fresh, you know. It took a while for us to get the full lineup, you know, and everybody contributing. We're slowly working towards that point, and I think on this next album that we're working on currently,
Mm-hmm.
I know I told you earlier, we're writing material.
Yep.
Everyone's starting to pull their weight, and everyone's starting to contribute. So that is pretty cool. So it is
Yep.
starting to, we're trying to mix things up a little bit, you know,
Yep.
talk about collaborating, and maybe getting some other, you know, some other heads in there in the game, in terms of songwriting. You know, with the EP, for instance, those songs were all written by myself or composed by myself, but it was slightly different because we did bounce things around, you know, off the other members more so than anything in the past,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you know. And also, totally having our guitar player, you know, who wasn't on he didn't play on any solos on the Order Divine album. You know, now we actually let him write some solos, and we got him to do some awesome stuff we're really happy about. And you know, he's a really good guitarist, and so that was really cool, you know,
Yeah.
getting him on there. And then also our drummer, we just let him rip, you know, and I think you can tell the difference in the drumming even
Absolutely.
on the Order Divine compared to the EP. The EP has got so much more intricate stuff going on, so much more aggressive, and you know, crazy fills and stuff. And we just said, just do it, man. So a little different. It was a little different. So it was
Right.
pretty cool, though.
Yeah, and I know again the CP is not out yet officially, but you've been talking about writing new music already. How many songs you've got currently already written for the new album that hopefully the fans is gonna see soon, hopefully next year I imagine or so. And in terms of the style, as you said, right, you're collaborating now a little bit more on the entire process. Do you think it's going to be different musically? Are you going to experiment with different musical styles, or it's still going to be in that genre, yet taken to a different level?
Yeah, so basically the new material we've got is there's not, I would say, there's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of material, but the way I kind of work, and the way that we're probably going to end up doing it. It happens, seems to happen every time. Is all the ideas, they all kind of grow simultaneously, you know. So there's a lot of good stuff that we've got so far. As far as completed songs, I can't say, but you know, I would say the material you can expect probably even more of an expanse on the same sort of sound that you have heard on the EP, and that fans will hear. And so, if you can imagine the EP, you know, we just want to do more of that, and maybe even evolving a little bit further, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely makes sense. Going back to the death of the cosmic, in the cover art, I personally find it, it's very simple yet it's absolutely entrancing. I mean, it just hits the spot somehow. For me, it resonates with the mood of the record so well, right? Has this been done on purpose, and did you have some kind of specific idea in mind when you approached Travis Smith?
Yeah, so that kind of was done on purpose, and it was meant to, the album or the EP name and the EP artwork were meant to reflect each other and kind of go hand in hand. And sort of what you see in the EP artwork is, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's like this knife edge building cutting through these dead trees that are surrounding it, dead and dying trees, and it's also leaving a huge shadow where there's stars that are kind of fading out, and it's a black sky, so it's kind of meant to represent how we are destroying nature and destroying this world, and kind of building this brutal modern concrete kind of world in its place, and it's like kind of when the title Death of the Cosmic, the cosmic sort of means our human spirit, our human nature, the divine force in the universe, kind of, and this album is kind of about how we're destroying that. And so this actually, yeah, it came from a sketch from me that I pitched to Travis Smith, and he was able to execute it so much better than I even imagined it would have been. He's able to add that really bleak looking, I guess, style to it, which is really awesome. And he seems to do that in a lot of his work. You instantly recognize it. He's got a very cool style, and I'm very happy with how it came out.
Yeah, it's funny because I first saw the cover art, and I was like, I imagine I kind of feel like I know this touch. And then I looked at who's been working, and I was like, oh, it's Travis Smith, yes, because you can recognize his work, his style in a way. Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Like, some of my favorite stuff from him is like like some of just the Catatonia album covers. That stuff is all his stuff is awesome.
Are great as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like what you said about the concept behind the album. It reminds me of this entire notion of progress for the sake of progress, and this brutal industrialization without any meaning. That in fact, I mean, if you look at the past, I mean, we haven't started living better. I mean, it's just differently, and it kind of touches now and resonates with me a little bit more, the music of this EP.
Oh, very glad to hear that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That was kind of the intent. So that's really cool to hear that.
Yeah. Cool. And a couple of more questions. I'm conscious of your
Yeah.
time as well. In terms of the influences, you mentioned that you mentioned one. You mentioned Tony, obviously, and but what other bands do you look up to? And any specific bands you've been listening to while writing this EP, and maybe some of the guys you're looking really up to, and might want to hit the stage at some point with.
Yeah, yeah. One of the bands I listened to a lot was Catatonia. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
they're one of my bands. Some of the more modern stuff they've been doing, has been really inspiring me. Hanging Garden, like I said.
Yeah.
Paradise Lost is another one that I would listen to a lot. Amorphous, with
Yeah.
their even with some of their newer albums. That I listened to those albums a bunch while writing this EP, and so there's probably a little bit of influence in there. Yeah, some of those bands are bands that I would love to share the stage with, and possibly tour with one of these days.
Yeah, yeah.
When it happens again, right? When touring we're allowed to tour again.
Let's hope it's gonna be
Yeah, it's
happening
my fingers
soon.
too. We're all doing it.
Yeah, I actually spoke to Nick Holmes of Paradise Lost a couple of months ago. He's a great guy, and I would love to see you on tour with the band as well. Hopefully over
That's,
Europe sometime soon.
that's a dream
Yeah.
tour. That's definitely.
So yeah, and this comes to the next question. For obvious reasons, you won't be able to go on tour and in support of this EP and perform it live. Perhaps, I mean, right now.
Yeah.
But are there any confirmed dates for maybe after the lockdown or anything you're planning? Whether it's in Texas or overseas in Europe.
Yeah, so we have a few shows that were actually just shows that they were just rescheduled from last
Mm-hmm.
year. Uh,
Yeah, it's good when
we
some
have
bands are able to reschedule them because there are a bunch of
yeah,
concerts that just have been canceled and that's it. Yeah.
yeah, and we're crossing our fingers that those are even going to happen,
Yeah.
as well, because those involve like for instance the Devastation on the Nation tour over here, and what was the other one, the Insomnium tour, the
Yeah.
U.S. tour that got canceled, and then the other one was a Swallow the Sun
Yeah.
tour. So we're going to be playing all three of those, and those will be in spring of
Mm-hmm.
next year. We'll see what happens with those dates. I would like to play those shows.
Yeah,
I really
obviously.
wanted to play them this year. Yeah, but we don't have anything. I can't speak to anything as far as touring goes yet, But we did hook up with a booking agency here in the U.S. and
Mhm.
we're I guess we're talking to a couple overseas, and so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'd really like to do something next year. I mean, it is weird, like you said, that we're not touring for this EP or any new material you think you'd go on tour for, but like, we're just sitting here, just like. All right, like this is, I guess we'll just be excited about releasing it at all, because we're sitting on it for so long. So it's still pretty
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty brave thing, bold thing to release it right now. But I guess, again, you've been sitting on it for, you said, almost a year now. So I guess it's time to let everyone
Yeah.
else, enjoy the
Yeah.
material as well. But this actually raises an interesting question in terms of, releasing the albums and in general music industry during the pandemic. I think it's no argument that the entertainment and music industry, has been hit the hardest. And heavy metal, in all the genres and subgenres, has always been a live music experience, right? It's not about
Yeah.
the internet. It's never been, at least for me. I mean, I cannot say that I truly am fan of a band unless I see them live. And
Oh
I
yeah, no, it's definitely one of those genres that it's like it's almost like you do need the live, feedback,
yeah
from people like putting their hands in the air and
yeah
screaming and yelling,
yeah.
and
Uh,
banging their heads,
Yeah, and what I'm usually curious of what do you think, and especially in the United States, is the online concert experience or whatever the new digital experiences that the bands are obviously, I mean, have to come up with. Is this going to be expanded and it's going to be our new reality, or in a year or two we'll be able to go back to normal and forget about all this shit?
Yeah, I think that first of all, I think that it's really cool, but it's no comparison, right? I mean, it's no comparison to seeing a band live because we look at videos all day. We're always looking at videos on our phones and on the internet, So it's not really that out of the ordinary experience. It's not enough I mean, we all watch music videos and stuff like that. It's just not enough to replace live music. And I think that, since live music has been a part of our culture as humans,
Yeah.
Since the dawn of really, civilization, think about it, everyone's been playing music for since as long as, yeah, humans have been able to. So I don't think live music is going to go away altogether.
Mhm.
I think that it might have to come back slowly, but I think surely even there's some concerts that they're talking about doing, where they're going to have even
Yeah.
drive-in concerts. I know I've got a friend who did one of those, even over here. And so there's some interesting ideas, and I think everyone wants it enough to where it will come back. And I don't think the internet concert is going to be the new reality, but we might see more of it for quite a while,
Yeah.
And we might end up doing a live streaming thing too, just because I think it's good to, you know, show your fans that you, hey, we care about, you know, connecting with you guys, and you know, we really want people to be able to see us in some capacity,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
even if it's online.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Just to be conscious of everyone's time, one crazy tour story or one concert experience that you cherish. You know, one concert that's stuck in your head, and you want to share the experience with the listeners.
Yeah, I would say when we were over in where was it? And we were in Houston over here, and we got to play with the band Oceans of Slumber. Those guys are really awesome, good friends of ours. They're on Century Media. They're kind of like a doomy kind of band. You know, they've got this awesome singer. Yeah, it was just really cool seeing the response from their hometown coming out for us, and it really meant a lot. That was a really special show, I think, for us, and I think we'll always remember that one for sure. And yeah, I think we created some good friends just playing those shows, just those ones alone, you know.
That's pretty cool. Well, I really hope that the entire pandemic thing is gonna go away, and we're all gonna wake up from it like it was just a nightmare. And you know, and hope
I hope
I'll
so. Yeah.
catch you guys live, whether in the United States when the you know the when the air travel resumes to its full capacity, or you know over in Europe. I would love to see you somewhere over here as well, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Perfect, Casey. Then any other message for the fans? Anything you want to share with them? You know, just an open mic for you.
Yeah, just everyone stay positive, you know. Right now it's important to just remember that, you know, yeah, like you said, like I think things are going to go back to normal at some point, and just stay positive. Let's have a positive attitude, and hopefully our music can really help everyone through this a little bit more, you know. So give it a listen, and yeah, let us know what you think. But yeah, keep positive attitude.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Casey. All right, thanks. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Take it
Perfect,
easy.
man.